Good day, Metafriadoglo and dear viewers. As part of a global push to limit Russia's capacity to finance its conflict with Ukraine through energy sales, the group of 7 G7 countries, Australia, and the European Union have agreed to a $60 per barrel price cap on Russian seaborne crude oil. Following Poland's support, the EU agreed on the price on Friday, opening the door for formal approval over the weekend. Friday's meeting between President Joe Biden and the Prince of Wales, William, took place in Boston, and according to Kensington Palace, the two men share warm memories of the late Queen Elizabeth II. The Prince and Biden spoke for half an hour and engaged in a cordial, pleasant, and substantive discussion after Biden received him outside the JFK Presidential Library and Museum. As there are currently no favorable conditions for such discussions, U.S. President Joe Biden does not intend to speak with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, about putting an end to the Ukraine war, the White House announced on Friday. The comments came a day after Biden expressed his willingness to talk to Putin about ending the war in Ukraine. National Security spokesperson John Kirby told reporters, "We are just not at a stage today where talks seems to be a constructive path to approach right now." According to a Senate aide, U.S. senators will receive a classified briefing on Ukraine's on next Wednesday. The administration is seeking an additional $37 billion in aid for Ukraine, which might include a year-end omnibus bill that needs to be approved by a deadline of December 16 in order to fund the government. On this year's International Day of Persons with Disabilities, which falls on Saturday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for revolutionary, inventive solutions in a world plagued with crises that unfairly target people with disabilities. Mr. Guterres stated in his message that increased public-private sector partnership is required to establish strategies that benefit people with disabilities, who should also be involved in their development. The United Nations and its allies have launched a record-breaking $51.5 billion relief appeal for 2023, with tens of millions more people likely to require humanitarian assistance. According to the UN Global Humanitarian Overview, an additional 65 million people will require aid next week, raising the total to 339 million across 68 nations. Humanitarian needs are shockingly high as this year's catastrophic events continue into 2023, Griffiths said, citing the conflict in Ukraine and drought in the Horn of Africa as examples. This is Florence Akano, correspondent of Golfe TV. We would like to thank you for connecting with us in this newscast.